Now, though, we're going to start talking about Ozempic, the drug that, of course, you'll have known and heard about. It's soared in popularity, being labelled as Hollywood's weight loss secret.
But as the demand for Ozempic remains sky high, doctors are now warning of the dangers of buying the injection online.
Yeah, it comes amid a worrying rise of patients visiting A&E with serious, life-threatening complications, just like our next guest, Jodie Jones.
Jodie had to be rushed to hospital after purchasing a fake version of the weight loss jab on WhatsApp. She's joining us now to share her shocking story alongside Dr. Nagat. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Doctor, let's start with you, first of all. What are the dangers of Ozempic and what's it supposed to do?
So in the UK, the Ozempic is actually semaglutide. That's the medication. And what it does is it works as a GLP-1 agonist. So it tricks the brain into thinking that you're full. It also slows down the gut, as makes you, again, feel full. By doing that, actually, the way that the licensing has been done in the UK is it actually is for type 2 diabetic patients.
Right.
It wasn't as a weight loss, but we realised that actually it works really well for weight loss. So you mentioned earlier on the Hollywood trait that started, because what happened was that individuals realised, aha, I'm onto something amazing. I can use this for weight loss off licence. So we can do a lot of medications off licence. Doesn't particularly make them unsafe. It means that's not the indication that you need it for. What happened with the dangers of that was the fact that actually all type 2 diabetics weren't able to get hold of them. And so we had a huge rise in this demand. And unfortunately, fakesters saw the fact that this is a vulnerability that people have.
Easy money.
Easy money. And also the way that Ozempic works is that it mimics having a gastric band without having a gastric band. So it's a once a week injection. So happy days, right? It's great.
You just don't feel hungry,
You don't
right?
feel
That's what
hungry.
I've heard
And
from
so
people.
it allows people to use it off licence. But unfortunately, this is where we've come into a real problem.
OK, so there's been a huge demand for a big rise in the profile of it and lots of people sort of cashing in. So, Jodie, where did this all start with you? Because I'm sure a lot of our viewers will sit here and be watching this morning thinking, Jodie looks great, she looks healthy, she looks fine, she certainly doesn't need, looks like she needs to lose a lot of weight.
Well, it started a few years ago. I went on new medication for my health issues. I have arthritis and I've had spinal surgery, so my body's gone slower and I'm struggling with pain. So I went on to a new drug that is for nerve pain, but unfortunately with that came weight gain as one of the side effects. So over the years, I've gained a good few stone of weight, which has impacted my pain and caused more pain. And made me slower. So I really needed to lose weight.
You tried exercise and the healthy eating, but because of the pain that and your arthritis, the exercise is an issue. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's exhausting. And by evening, if I'd overdo it in a day, I would struggle so much. I could be bedridden for a day or a week or 2 weeks. So it's a big impact on my life if I try to do more in the day.
And was it because of that reason, that your GP actually said, do you want to try this for weight loss? Because your GP recommended it, right?
Yeah, my GP recommended that. He wanted to refer me to a dietitian, which is what he did. And he mentioned about this injection. We spoke about it, and it seemed like a really great idea. He did warn me that, you know, I might not get it on the NHS. There's quite a tough category to sit into to get that. Yeah, it was quite exciting to think that there was something out there that
but you couldn't get hold
could help.
of it.
Yeah.
So he would try to refer you to a dietitian, but that was going to take a very long time to get that point with the dietitian, and then you might not even qualify for the Ozempic anyway.
Yeah.
But then you suddenly saw there was an opportunity because a friend of yours had found somebody who was selling what claimed to be Ozempic.
Yeah, I'd heard off a friend. She was trying it. She was doing really well on it. That this lady was selling semaglutide as she advertised it. So I got her number and WhatsApped her. And got the ball rolling really.
And what did you get and how much did you pay?
I bought a month's worth, so 4 syringes for £20 per syringe.
Wow. And did you have to go through any checks at all? Did you have to answer any questions?
No, she didn't ask any health questions, nothing.
Right. So then you administered the first injection.
Yeah.
Did you feel strange straight away?
I felt sickly, felt quite queasy. Good few days I felt quite unwell. I did message her back and just say, is this normal?
Yeah.
Is this sort of one of the side effects? She reassured me that it should subside by the next day, take some anti-sickness, which it did. And then for that week, as you've said, I felt full.
Yes.
I felt like I couldn't really manage my food, which I thought was brilliant. I thought, this is really working.
That was the effect you wanted?
Yeah, yeah.
So when did things go wrong?
The second injection, a week later, I took it the afternoon, and by that evening I just started vomiting and couldn't stop vomiting. I thought, hopefully it'll subside. Maybe it's because the dose has gone up. I thought, you know, give it 24 hours, I should feel better. But no, didn't feel better at all day throwing up. And that was on the Thursday night. And then by the Friday night, I was so dehydrated, I was passing out.
But you were actually vomiting blood as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it escalated very quickly, actually. And at what point did you turn around and go, I actually need to go to hospital here, this is very scary?
My eldest daughter that was looking after me overnight, the Friday night, she phoned the ambulance early hours of the Saturday morning.
Called the ambulance?
Yeah, because I wasn't with it at all. I kept passing out, so I wasn't really there. I did not feel well.
So when you got to A&E and you got to hospital and you were seen by a doctor, what did you do? Did you tell them what you'd done?
Yeah, I told the paramedics what I'd done. I told the hospital what I'd done.
How did you feel about having to share that with them?
Embarrassed. Yeah, I was very embarrassed. I was quite ashamed of myself for buying something and injecting myself with it that's made me so unwell.
And so, I mean, obviously you're well again now.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in hospital before you were allowed to leave?
Well, when I was admitted, my blood sugar and blood pressure were extremely low. I was severely dehydrated, so I was very unwell. It took me till the next day to start eating a little bit. I managed half a yoghurt.
Yeah.
And then it was a good week after that until I started really feeling more myself. I was very dizzy all week and very unwell.
And did the hospital say anything to you as to what you'd injected yourself with or what was actually wrong with you?
They described it as a fake. They were pretty adamant. The doctor come to me and said, you're not the first and you won't be the last.
So he's had several cases of this?
And have you let the person know that you bought these injections off, that the drug that you had been given was a fake and it had this awful side effects?
Yeah, my mum was very angry at the time I was admitted to hospital, so she'd messaged this lady to ask, where have you bought this from? Can we just know, you know, is it off an actual prescriber? She wouldn't give any information, just apologised that I was unwell and that it hadn't happened before, and that was it. Wasn't really
Has it stopped her selling what she was selling before?
No.
Which is a doctor. I mean, that seems terrifying to me. As a doctor, that must be awful. I think we can compare what it was that Jodie had to what... That's the fake one that you received, Jodie, isn't it? And then this is the original... Ozempic, so you know, so it comes in pre-loaded pens.
Yeah, which I know now.
Rather than syringes. I mean, Dr. Nighat, it must be so easily done, especially if Jodie's getting anecdotal evidence from friends that's saying it's working.
And this is why we fall into that trap when we're vulnerable. There'll be lots of people sitting at home exactly in that phase where they feel that my weight isn't how it should be. I've got all these other chronic conditions as well, and you become desperate. You can't just walk into the GP surgery and say, can I have this weight loss drugs? And in fact, in Ozempic, we are reserving that for, say, type 2 diabetics, because also we have now got Wegovy, which is the licence. So Wegovy is semaglutide as well. This is where the confusion comes, because everybody's like, but it's the same medication. The difference between Ozempic and Wegovy, which is licensed for weight loss, is the dose equivalence. So it's higher concentrations. So it will actually cause weight loss with, say, Wegovy. Ozempic is just a side effect where you get weight loss. It actually reduces your sugars first, makes you feel dehydrated if it's not done appropriately. And this is where, in October 2023, there was a YouGov warning given out to doctors to say, please look out for fake Ozempics. And to put your head above the parapet to talk about it, of course you feel embarrassed. It's incredibly brave. But this is why we need to cover stories like this, because you won't be the first, you won't be the last. And unfortunately, it's something that I come across in my GP practice as well.
But see, if there's a shortage as well, that prompts people to reach out a different way and try something different. So is there any advice you would give? Would you just say, absolutely not, never get any drugs from anybody else that isn't your GP? Or would you do a thing of, right, this is what you need to look out for?
Yeah, I always say, look, we are going to have the private healthcare sector that's available to us. So a couple of top tips. One is that always look out for verified sites. So a WhatsApp group or recommendation from friends is not actually a good place. So look at whether they are MRHA, so Medical Health Regulatory Association have been regulating that. Also, look at what the actual medication is. Now we know what the fake one looks like.
Yes.
Because they're pre-filled insulin syringes. That's totally wrong. They should be pre-filled with all the 4 doses in one syringe. Also look at the prescriber. Who prescribes it? If it's a regulated doctor who does weight management, they will have a GMC number, like I do, and that's how I practice. And so you know that I'm a verified individual. But also they'll have the licensing as well in order to do that weight management. And finally, if you are going to have a look at the medication, we should always be starting at the lowest dose possible and then going higher up, because what we need to do is make sure that we're tracking you. So also looking at your weight. So there's strict guidance.
Sure.
If we want Ozempic or Wegovy, your BMI has to be on the NHS. It has to be 35 and above. And if you're Black and Asian community or other ethnic minorities, it's lower than that at 32. You've got to have type 2 diabetes or hypertension or sleep apnea. There's got to be other reasons why we would think that the benefits of taking something like semaglutide is going to outweigh the risks.
This is what the Department of Health and Social Care said regarding the right reply. We strongly advise the public not to buy regulated medicines from unauthorised online retailers or beauty salons, as they can be dangerous. The Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency continuously works to identify those unlawfully trading in medicines and will use its powers to take appropriate enforcement action, including, where necessary, prosecuting those who put people's health at risk. You're OK now, you're fine.
Yeah.
Still want to lose weight, though?
Yes.
And so are you waiting for that appointment with the dietitian? Will you eventually do it, or if that's the end of your weight loss jab experience?
I've been put well and truly off that. I know it does work, and if done properly, but it's put me off. I don't think I'll be doing that.
Take those risks.
No.
Very frightening. But thank you so much for coming on and for being so brave and talking about it, because it's definitely it's an epidemic at the moment, isn't it? So,
really is.
And thank you, Dr. Nugget. Thank you for your advice.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.